The man found that his son's handkerchief was covered with bacteria, so he threw it into the laundry basket without hesitation. But after the nanny washed the handkerchief, the son immediately flew into a frenzy. It was as if he had lost something important. The nanny was very confused. Hearing the noise, the man walked over and asked his son what was wrong. The little boy pointed at the handkerchief in the basin. The man picked up the handkerchief and gave it to him. The boy immediately smelled the handkerchief, only to find that it smelled of nothing but laundry detergent. He angrily threw the handkerchief aside and rushed back to his room. The reason for the boy's unusual behavior was that a woman had saved him in time when he encountered danger the previous day. That woman had given the boy a handkerchief and a doll as gifts. The boy was overjoyed when he received the presents. However, that night, the boy, who had been in a car accident before, could not fall asleep for a long time due to post-traumatic stress disorder. But when his father saw that he was still awake so late, he forced him to go to bed without asking any questions. The boy had to pretend to be asleep, and as soon as his father left, he sat up immediately and took out the handkerchief and doll that the woman had given him. The boy smelled them. Suddenly, he realized that the scent was exactly the same as that of the woman who had saved him during the car accident. After smelling the familiar scent, he felt extremely relieved and relaxed. The next morning, the man found that his son had woken up an hour later than usual. This made him feel something was wrong. He thought the boy had a fever, but the thermometer showed that his temperature was normal. Then he checked the boy's diet again, but still found nothing amiss. The man mistakenly thought that his son's autism had worsened, so he immediately called his secretary and told her to take the boy to the children's hospital. When the boy was sent to the hospital, he screamed in fear. At the same time, the woman had just arrived at the hospital to start her work. When she heard the boy scream, she walked into the room curiously to check what was going on, and she found that he was the little boy she had saved the previous day. The woman stepped forward and greeted the boy. She noticed that the boy did not like playing with car toys, so she invited him to go to another room to play with her, and the boy, who usually never interacted with strangers, accepted her invitation. The man's secretary was shocked instantly. After arriving at the other room, the woman took out 2 lollipops. She communicated with the boy gently, hoping to learn about his condition. At that moment, the man, who had received a message from his secretary, rushed to the hospital immediately. The CEO found a belt that did not belong to him on the bed. He immediately questioned his wife where she had hidden her lover. Just as the woman was about to muddle through it, a burst of crying suddenly came from downstairs. So they went downstairs to check what was going on, only to find that it was the woman's lover who was crying. When the lover saw the woman, he immediately hugged her and called her Mom. Everyone was instantly shocked. The CEO was extremely angry and ordered his bodyguards to separate the two of them. He had no idea that the woman was truly that man's mother. It turned out that only 10 minutes ago, the woman and her son had been in a car accident. When the woman opened her eyes again, she was shocked to find that she had turned into a vicious supporting actress in a novel. At that moment, it was exactly the plot where the CEO caught the woman dating her lover and was about to divorce her. To change the direction of the story, the woman told her lover to climb out through the window, but she never expected that her son had also come to this world, and his soul had entered the lover's body. At this moment, the woman was afraid that her husband would get angry, so she quickly said that she did not know this man. However, the man kept calling her mom. Seeing the CEO quarreling with the woman, the man stood in front of her and told the CEO not to bully his mother. The woman quickly asked the bodyguards to drive the man away. When she saw the man's reluctant expression, she could not help thinking of her own son. The next day, the CEO took the woman home, only to find that the man was there too. It turned out that after the man went home, he had been crying to find his mother, but when the man's biological mother stood in front of him, he said that she was not his mother. The rich woman immediately called a doctor, but was told that the man's current IQ was equivalent to that of a 6-year-old child. To find out why her son had become like this, the rich woman took the man to the CEO's house. She demanded that the CEO's mother give her an explanation. When the man saw the woman, he immediately ran over and said that he was her son. The woman finally realized that something was wrong. She took the man to a room alone, and after questioning him for a while, the woman was very sure that the man in front of her was her own son. The two finally recognized each other, and the woman thought that everything was too absurd. To survive in this world, the woman told her son not to say anything when they went out later. The man nodded obediently. When the rich woman saw them come out, she immediately stepped forward, but the man kept hiding from her. The woman had to explain that the man had hit his head last night and lost his memory, and currently only remembered her. However, the rich woman did not believe her words, because the man had hated her the most in the past. A woman accompanied her best friend to a job interview but was mistaken for an applicant. The interviewer asked her to share her hobbies, yet she questioned if drinking counted as a hobby. However, the interviewer immediately stood up and appointed her as the CEO's assistant. The woman was completely stunned because she knew nothing except how to drink alcohol. She even had to take 2 large bottles of alcohol with her every time she took a flight. Security personnel stopped her and refused to let her board the plane, so she drank both bottles of alcohol in one go, but she did not get drunk at all. After getting off the plane, she was informed that she had to meet a client at a restaurant. That client was a heavy drinker, and no one in the company could outdrink him. This time, the CEO showed up in person to negotiate the cooperation with the client. He deliberately raised the cooperation quotation, but the client still rejected it. It turned out that the client wanted to invite the CEO to drink together. Nevertheless, the CEO had a very low alcohol tolerance, so he declined the client's invitation. Just as the cooperation was about to fall through, the woman appeared and said she could drink with the client. Before long, the client got drunk, but the woman remained completely sober. After finalizing the deal, she offered the CEO a glass of alcohol to celebrate, and he passed out drunk right away. The woman had no choice but to take him back home. When the CEO woke up, he smelled the scent of alcohol. He was shocked to find that the woman was actually brushing her teeth with alcohol. The man thought she must be a drinking prodigy and then offered her a position as his personal secretary. Upon hearing that the annual salary was 5 million yuan, the woman signed the contract without hesitation. But when she learned that she had to pretend to be the CEO's girlfriend, she immediately put forward her resignation. The man told her, "You will have to pay a penalty of 10 million US dollars for unilateral breach of contract." Upon hearing this, the woman had to give up her plan to resign. Later, the CEO asked her to attend a family dinner with him. The next day, the woman went to the CEO's house. When the woman saw the alcohol, she picked it up and drank it without hesitation. Everyone present was completely stunned. Afterwards, the woman invited the CEO's grandfather to drink with her. The CEO tried to dissuade his grandfather, telling him never to compete with the woman in drinking. But the grandfather scolded him, thinking that he could never be outdone by a woman. However, it did not take long before the grandfather got drunk. The CEO found out that his ex-girlfriend who had abandoned him was now completely blind. Just then, a car was about to hit the woman. The man rushed forward instinctively to protect her, but the blind woman did not recognize that he was her ex-boyfriend. She thought she had bumped into someone, so she apologized to the man in a panic. Looking at the flustered woman, all the hatred he had harbored for her over the years vanished in an instant. He had no idea that the woman had left him back then to protect him. It turned out that ever since the woman's parents passed away, her uncle had been plotting against her everywhere because he coveted her family's property. The woman was afraid that her uncle would hurt the man, so she broke up with him in the most hurtful way possible. But the man had thought that the woman left him because she looked down on his poverty. Now he had become a well-known entrepreneur. Seeing how miserable the woman was living now, he left her alone and walked into the banquet hall. Soon enough, he saw the woman being carefully led to the bathroom by a waiter. Eventually, the man could not help but be drawn to her. At that moment, the blind woman was fumbling for her wound, trying to take care of it by herself. Watching the woman's difficulty and helplessness, he quickly stepped forward to help her sit down steadily. The woman asked him who he was, but he just silently cleaned her wound. It was not until the woman started to struggle that he said, "Don't move, or you'll end up with a scar." His words made the woman zone out instantly, because her ex-boyfriend had said the exact same thing when he bandaged her wound back in high school. The woman could not help but call out the man's name. The man immediately denied it flusteredly and then turned around and left. So the woman did not think much more of it. She believed that the person she had abandoned could never be the one helping her. When the man returned to the banquet hall, he happened to hear the woman's cousin speaking ill of her. The man immediately walked over to her side. He said that he intended to form a marriage alliance with her family. The woman's cousin was overjoyed. She mistakenly thought that the man wanted to marry her, so she immediately took him to meet her father. And her father was none other than the woman's uncle. Just as the woman's uncle thought his family was about to squeeze into the upper class, the man said that the person he wanted to marry was his niece. The woman's cousin could not accept that the man would rather marry a blind woman than her. She immediately joined forces with her mother to slander the woman. But the man took out a contract worth 50 million US dollars as a marriage condition. The money-greedy uncle immediately agreed to marry his niece off to him. The next day, the man came to pick up the woman to get their marriage certificate, but the woman overheard a conversation between him and his friend. She instantly recognized that it was the voice of her ex-boyfriend. The woman thought her comatose husband had woken up, but she found that the man holding her was her husband's younger brother. What was even more terrifying was that this man actually regarded himself as her husband. The woman immediately drew back the bed curtain beside her. When the man saw his elder brother lying in the hospital bed, his head suddenly ached violently. Just a week ago, the man and his elder brother had been swept into the sea by the waves. His elder brother had been entangled by fishing lines and could not get free. The man immediately swam over to save him, but they both ended up drowning. The woman didn't believe in things like soul swapping, so she immediately asked doctors to examine him. The doctor said that the man might have suffered from cognitive impairment due to prolonged brain hypoxia. So the woman found a psychologist for her husband's younger brother. But the treatment process was not smooth. The man insisted that he was the woman's husband, and he said that his soul was trapped in his younger brother's body. One day, when the woman came home, she found the man pruning her husband's favorite flowers. She angrily snatched the scissors away, and she said that these things belonged to her husband. Then she dragged the man into the bathroom. She told him to recognize his own identity clearly. To make her believe he was her husband, the man described in detail how he and the woman had first met. The woman felt terrified, because every word he said described experiences she had shared with her husband. Looking into the man's sincere eyes, the woman felt herself wavering. Afraid that she might believe him, she immediately turned and ran away. The next day, the woman received a call from a salesperson who said a man was using her husband's membership card. She went to the clothing store, but once again mistook the man for her husband. After she regained her composure, the man handed her a brooch and said he had repaired it. The woman froze, because the brooch had been made by her husband, and only he knew how to fix it. At that moment, the brooch cut her finger, and the man immediately helped her stop the bleeding. Looking at the man who was extremely similar to her husband, the woman could no longer stand it. She immediately walked out, but she accidentally fell down. To test the man, she deliberately said she had injured her left foot before. However, the man contradicted her and begged her to stop testing him. He tried to lift her up, but she slapped him across the face. Then the woman went to the hospital and looked at her husband, who was still unconscious. Angrily, she slapped him and begged him to wake up, but she still got no response. The man hid outside the hospital room and recalled the first time he had seen the woman. He had fallen in love with her at first sight back then. But just as he was about to confess his feelings, he was shocked to discover that she had become his brother's girlfriend. From then on, the man could only bury his love for the woman deep in his heart. It was not until the accident happened to him and his elder brother this time, when he learned that his brother would never wake up again, the man decided to take his brother's place and stay by the woman's side. The woman was shocked to find that all the furniture in her house had floated up. Just as she was about to reach out and touch it, she suddenly fell into the ocean. She actually turned into a mermaid, and there were 4 other mermaids surrounding her. The woman was about to play with them, but the next second, she rolled off the bed. She immediately thought she must have been crazy to have such a dream. However, she had no idea that these mermaids actually existed. Moreover, those 4 mermaids were all her fiancés. It turned out that the woman was a princess of the mermaid kingdom. When she was a child, her mother had found her 4 fiancés to protect her. But when all 4 fiancés were away, they were betrayed by a subordinate. The woman was gravely injured, and her mother used magic to erase all her memories to protect her. Her mother then sent her to the human world. Her 4 fiancés all disguised themselves as humans to find her. The blonde mermaid became the CEO of a large company. The blue-haired merman became an idol singer with tens of millions of fans. The silver-haired mermaid became a highly skilled doctor, and the black-haired mermaid became the owner of a tavern. One day, the woman went to work at her new company, but she accidentally got into the CEO's exclusive elevator. When she saw the CEO walk in, she quickly covered her face, but the CEO noticed that the scale on his chest was glowing. He immediately realized that this woman might be the princess. It turned out that this scale was given to them by the woman's mother. It could sense the woman's presence. The CEO told the woman to show her face, but the elevator door behind her suddenly opened. Seeing that the woman was about to fall, the CEO quickly pulled her. However, the scale stopped glowing, and the CEO immediately let go of her hand. After returning to his office, he thought that he must have been mistaken. He did not know that the scale would keep glowing only when he truly loved the princess. Meanwhile, after the woman got off work, she accompanied her friend to watch her idol's concert. Before the concert started, the woman wanted to go to the bathroom. By accident, she wandered into the idol's dressing room. The staff thought she was an obsessive fan and tried to kick her out, but the idol allowed her to stay and told her that the restroom was on the 2nd floor. After using the bathroom, the woman remembered that her friend was a loyal fan of this idol, so she wanted to ask for an autograph for her friend. The man did not refuse and signed his name directly on her palm. He even kissed the back of her hand. The woman was instantly charmed by his good looks, and the man had already found out that she was the princess he had been looking for. The girl found that her stepfather was quietly approaching her room. She immediately curled up in the corner in fear. At that moment, the sound of a fight suddenly came from outside the door. It turned out that her stepfather's son was protecting her. When they slept at night, the brother and sister slept separated by a curtain. The girl secretly pulled the corner of the man's clothes and swore that she would repay him sooner or later. But the man told her never to come back after she left. Years ago, the girl's father passed away early, after her mother married her stepfather. The girl had thought this would be a new beginning, but the way her stepfather looked at her always filled her with fear. If it hadn't been for this nominal elder brother who had been protecting her all the time, she had no idea what would have happened to her. The man was afraid that his father would do something bad to the girl when he was away, so he decided to take the girl to work at the company with him. But as soon as he and the girl walked out of the room, her stepfather told the girl to accompany her mother to the hospital for a checkup. The girl wanted to refuse, but her mother told her to obey her stepfather's request. Just when she was at a loss what to do, the man grabbed her hand and took her away from there. After they arrived at the company, the boss's daughter personally handed breakfast to the man. What surprised the girl even more was that the company awarded the man a luxury apartment. The supervisor said that this was a top sales award specially applied for by the boss's daughter for the man. The girl mistakenly thought that her elder brother was going to move out and begged him not to leave her behind in a hurry. Seeing how frightened the girl was, the man said that the apartment was actually intended for her to live in. After work, the man took her to their new home. To make the girl feel at ease living there, the man told her that only her fingerprints were recorded on the door lock. Even if he came to visit, he would have to wait for the girl to open the door in person before he could get in. The girl was very happy. She finally had a safe shelter. However, late at night, the girl kept receiving text messages from her mother. Her mother kept telling her to go home and accusing her of being selfish. Feeling suffocated, the girl walked to the window to get some fresh air, but she was horrified to find her stepfather appearing downstairs of the apartment building. The girl immediately curled up in the corner again. The painful memories from the past flooded her mind crazily. Just as she was on the verge of collapse, a hasty knock on the door sounded outside. As soon as she heard her elder brother's voice, the girl opened the door at once. The woman suddenly found that she could see the spirits of the deceased. She immediately turned around and ran away, but a man stopped her. The man roared at those spirits, and they disappeared in an instant. He turned his head, expecting praise from the woman, yet she just froze there. Because this man looked exactly like her missing husband, she asked the man who he was, but he was now only a soul and had lost all his memories. The man begged the woman to help him retrieve his memories, for only she could see ghosts. The woman thought he must be related to her husband, so she agreed to his request to find out the reason for her husband's disappearance. After they got home, the man said that he would disappear if he failed to recover his memories within 7 days. The woman asked how she could help him. The man told her, "I have a strange connection with some special spirits. As long as you help them fulfill their wishes, I can regain my memories." The woman felt confused. She had no idea how to find those special spirits, but the man said those spirits would come to her on their own. The next second, the lights in the house began to flicker, and a black cat appeared in the woman's home. The woman immediately understood that this was the special spirit the man had mentioned. The black cat said that her wish was to see the person she loved one last time. She then began to tell her story. The black cat had originally been an ordinary college student. One day, her glasses were knocked off by a passerby, and as a highly myopic person, she could not see where they were. Just when she was at a loss what to do, a boy picked up the glasses and put them in her hand. After that day, the girl fell in love with him. Because the boy had adopted a black cat, she transformed into the form of a black cat after her death. After listening to her story, the woman asked the man how they could make the two meet. Because the boy was just an ordinary person who could not see spirits, the man said her eyes were the medium for their meeting. As long as the boy also wanted to see the girl, he could see her spirit through the woman's eyes, so the woman agreed to help the girl. However, when they arrived at the school, they found that the boy was extremely popular. Many female students were surrounding him and confessing their love. The woman walked up to the boy and said she was a friend of the girl. Then she took the boy to a cafe. The woman asked the boy if there was anyone he liked among the many female students who surrounded him every day. The boy shook his head and said no, so the woman concluded that he did not like that girl. When the boy wanted to ask her about the girl's whereabouts, the woman in front of him had already left. The man asked the woman why she had given up. The woman said the boy had many excellent admirers, and he could not possibly like an ordinary girl. If the boy did not like the girl, she thought their meeting would be meaningless. The girl did not blame her. From the moment she died, she had accepted the fate of being separated from the boy forever. If the boy did not want to see her, no matter how hard she tried, she could not make him see her spirit. At that moment, the woman noticed that the black cat's body was gradually fading away. It turned out that once the girl's hope was shattered, her soul would dissipate forever. But to their surprise, the boy suddenly ran over and called out the girl's name. The girl's soul instantly reassembled and restored her original appearance. The nanny invited the CEO out for dinner for the first time, but the meal cost them $10,000. Seeing the girl's reluctant look, the CEO tried to pay the bill for her. However, he had left his phone and wallet in the car. To make things worse, the girl had forgotten to take her phone too. When the waiter saw that they couldn't pay, he immediately called the restaurant owner over. The restaurant owner demanded that they wash dishes to pay off the debt. After hearing that she had to wash 3,000 dishes, the girl refused quickly. Then the girl suggested leaving the CEO there while she went back to the car to get her phone and pay. But the restaurant owner rejected her proposal. He was afraid that the girl would never come back. Unwilling to wash the dishes, the girl said she could sell the CEO's wheelchair, which was worth $200,000. The CEO was extremely angry when he heard that. He immediately pressed a button on his wheelchair. Soon a group of bodyguards rushed in. Seeing so many bodyguards, the restaurant owner begged the CEO for mercy at once, saying that the meal was free of charge. When they got back to the car, the girl was afraid that the man would blame her. However, the man was very happy. He thought his boring life had been broken. It turned out that since the man became disabled in both legs, his mood had become unstable. Before the girl took the job, he had already driven away 18 nannies. When the man heard that the girl had come to apply for the nanny position, he said he didn't need one. But the man's younger brother kept the girl. He also told the girl to massage the man's legs every day. After receiving the task, the girl immediately went to find the CEO. However, the man had been avoiding her by using the surveillance cameras. At that moment, he found that the girl was gone. The next second, the girl appeared in front of him. He tried to control the wheelchair to slip away. The girl immediately pulled out the battery of his wheelchair. Having no other way, the man had to let the girl do whatever she wanted. He had originally thought that the girl would definitely dislike the scars on his legs, but the girl didn't dislike them at all. She gently asked him if those scars still hurt. Seeing the girl massaging earnestly, the man gradually relaxed his tense nerves. Meanwhile, when the man's younger brother saw that the man was obediently accepting the massage, he was very happy. He immediately gave the girl $50,000 as a reward. Staring at the increased balance in her bank account, the girl was overjoyed. At that time, the younger brother gave her a new task, to make the man eat properly. Soon the girl cooked a table of delicious food for the man. man. But he was not satisfied at all, and even stormed off with a sour face. To cure the man's bad temper, the girl deliberately refused to give him anything to eat for a whole day. In the evening, the starving man sneaked into the kitchen secretly. When he opened the refrigerator, he found a bowl of cooked fried rice inside. It turned out that the girl had already guessed that he would sneak around to find food. The girl discovered that a scheming woman had put something into the CEO's glass of wine. She was so frightened that she stepped back, but accidentally bumped into the CEO behind her. The CEO asked her what had happened, and seeing how handsome he was, the girl wanted to tell him what she had just seen. At that moment, the scheming woman walked over and interrupted their conversation. Afraid of offending the scheming woman and losing her job, the girl could only watch as the CEO was dragged into a private room by her. She was extremely conflicted about whether she should help him. Just as the scheming woman's plan was about to succeed, the girl suddenly burst into the room. She told the CEO that there was something wrong with the drink. Fearing exposure, the scheming woman tried to splash the wine onto the girl. The man stopped her in time, and to the girl's surprise, he actually took the initiative to drink the wine himself. He told the scheming woman to get out. Seeing that something was wrong, the girl tried to sneak away. However, she was stopped by the man as soon as she reached the door. The girl was very angry and accused him of repaying kindness with ingratitude. Seeing that the girl was unwilling, the man decided to let her go. However, when the girl saw how uncomfortable he looked, she chose to stay. Afterward, the girl prepared to leave, but the man asked her if she was willing to marry him. The girl immediately refused. The man explained that he only needed a fake marriage to deal with his mother. As long as the girl agreed, he would give her $5 million. Hearing that there was money to be made, the girl agreed to his proposal. However, the girl's two older sisters strongly opposed the marriage. They believed that the girl should not marry a man she barely knew just for money. But the girl only wanted to earn the money and repay them, because her parents had died very early and she had been raised by her two sisters. Seeing that the girl had already made up her mind, the two sisters were extremely distressed. If the girl married the man, they might not be able to obtain their father's inheritance. It turned out that the girl's father had been the richest man in the city. Back then, the two sisters had relied on their wealth and lived extravagantly. Fearing that his youngest daughter would become the same after his death, the tycoon had made a will. Before the girl turned 20, the two sisters had been required to hide the family's wealth and raise her in poverty. His assistant would supervise them at all times. If it was discovered that the girl lived a wealthy life, all of the inheritance would be donated to charity. From that day on, they moved from a spacious villa to a shabby apartment complex. The girl had always believed that they were a poor family and often worked part-time to help support the household. With the girl about to turn 20, the sisters decided to stop her from marrying the man. Coincidentally, the man came to pick the girl up to take her home to meet his mother. The two sisters immediately locked the girl inside a room. They refused to let the man marry the girl and told him to leave at once. Afraid that the man would really leave, the girl frantically banged on the door and shouted. After hearing her voice, the man immediately rushed over and forced the door open. On the wedding day, the bride publicly destroyed a wedding dress worth millions of dollars. Just as her father was about to scold her, she said she did not dare to wear the dress. Then the woman took out a stack of photos, all of which showed the groom and her younger sister being intimate. Seeing his son doing such a shameful thing, the wealthy tycoon was extremely angry. He sincerely apologized to the woman and decided to cancel the wedding between her and his son. However, the woman said that the wedding did not need to be canceled. She suddenly raised her finger to the groom's elder brother and said that he was the one she really wanted to marry. It turned out that the woman had been reborn. In her previous life, she had truly loved her husband, but he had betrayed her with her younger sister. The two of them not only joined hands to take everything away from her, but also tortured her seriously. On the verge of death, her husband's elder brother risked his life to come and save her. Only then did the woman realize that she had trusted the wrong person. After being reborn, she decided to take revenge on her husband and marry the man who truly loved her. Faced with the woman's choice, everyone was extremely shocked. The wealthy tycoon advised the woman to think again, because his eldest son only cared about having fun every day and was a well-known playboy. But the woman's attitude was firm, claiming that she would never regret it. As a result, the wedding proceeded as scheduled in such a dramatic way. After the wedding, the woman learned about her husband's past from the housekeeper. It turned out that the man had accidentally fallen into the water when he was a child, which left him with a chronic illness. Since then, he had given himself up to despair and treated every day as his last day of life. Just as the woman felt sorry for the man's misfortune, she accidentally activated the rebirth revenge system. The first task issued by the system was to transform the man's decadent personality. As long as the woman completed the task, the man's body would be completely cured. The woman was very happy, and she immediately went to the bar to find the drunk man. Looking at his self-defeating appearance, the woman immediately pretended to cry and said that she did not want to become a widow right after getting married. Seeing her crying so sadly, the man felt guilty for the first time. He quickly swore that he would quit smoking and drinking from then on and would listen to her in everything. The woman happily hugged him. Soon, the system notified the woman that the task progress had increased by 10%. The woman swore that she would protect the man well in this life. The man deliberately splashed water on his fiancée to drive her away. However, the woman refused to put up with him and fetched a glass of water to splash back at him. She said that no one had been willing to marry him since he became disabled in both legs, so he had no right to look down on her. At that moment, the man's mother walked over and asked them what had happened. The woman smiled and said that they were sending blessings to each other. Upon hearing this, the wealthy woman was very satisfied, because the woman was the first person who dared to fight back against her son. So the wealthy woman let her stay and asked her to develop a relationship with the man. The man had to ask the housekeeper to take him back to his room, but the woman offered to help him voluntarily. The wealthy woman was delighted and thought she had found the right person. After entering the room, the woman sat down on the man's bed without hesitation. The man told her to get out and said that he would never marry her. Just as the woman was about to retort, the man's younger brother arrived. He stepped forward to provoke the man, saying that their father had handed over the company to him and that the man would have to obey him from then on. The woman did not expect the man's younger brother to be so arrogant. She immediately grabbed the man's wheelchair and controlled the wheels to run over the younger brother's feet. Then she drove the younger brother out of the room without hesitation. The woman thought the man would thank her, but instead, he blamed her for meddling in his business. She got angry, kicked him to the ground, and said she would not indulge him like his mother did. Although the man was convinced, he had no way to refute her. The next day, the woman took the man to get their marriage certificate. The wealthy woman was overjoyed and gave the woman a bank card worth $10 million. The woman immediately swore that she would take good care of the man in the future. At that time, the doctor said that the man's calves needed regular massages to promote blood circulation. So the woman began to learn how to massage the man. Seeing how earnestly the woman was learning, the man felt a little moved, but he was unwilling to admit it and deliberately said that he could not feel anything from her massage. Hearing his words, the woman immediately touched his thighs, making the man quickly grab her hand in alarm. When the wealthy woman saw their interaction, she was very relieved. One day, the woman found that the man's ex-girlfriend had come to the house. The ex-girlfriend said that the woman was not worthy of him at all and wanted them to get a divorce. The man immediately told her to get out. The woman was surprised and did not expect that the man would stand up for her. She walked over to the man and told the ex-girlfriend to leave at once with her dog. However, the ex-girlfriend deliberately let go of the dog's leash. Seeing that the dog was about to bite the man, the woman immediately stood in front of him to protect him. The woman was hit by a billboard when she tried to save a little girl. When she woke up again, she had actually become a vicious supporting female character in a novel. The original owner was the long-lost biological daughter of a wealthy family, but after her parents found her and took her home, the adopted daughter of her parents often framed her, and eventually, the woman was driven out of the house by her parents. The woman looked around the surroundings and suddenly remembered that this was exactly the plot where the adopted sister framed her for being with an old man. To change her fate, she quickly climbed onto the balcony outside. Fortunately, she could jump from the balcony to the next room. However, as soon as she jumped down, she saw a handsome man. Fearing that the man would expose her, the woman immediately covered his mouth. She only relaxed after her adopted sister and the old man left. The man asked her to give him an explanation. When the woman saw the clothes she was wearing, she quickly said that she would talk to him after changing her clothes. However, the man did not expect the clothes she changed into to be so ugly. The woman told him that what happened today was just an accident and hoped he would not tell anyone. Then she left in a hurry. The man suddenly found her quite interesting. After the woman returned home, she immediately opened her wardrobe, only to find that it was full of ugly clothes. The only nice set of clothes was a gift from her brother. When her brother saw her wearing the clothes he gave her, he was very happy, but the adopted daughter was very unhappy. She thought the woman had taken away the family's love for her. Soon after, to celebrate finding his biological daughter, the wealthy man specially held a banquet for the woman. The adopted daughter deliberately spoke ill of the woman in front of the guests, making them think that the woman was rude, until the woman appeared in front of them wearing a gorgeous dress, and they were all captivated by her beauty. The adopted daughter deliberately told her friend that she envied the woman for being able to gain others' favor easily. After hearing this, the friend really started to dislike the woman. She immediately mocked the woman for eating too rudely and disgracing the family. The woman knew that this was the adopted daughter targeting her, so she directly said to the adopted daughter, "You and your friend are both garbage." The adopted daughter's friend was very angry. She picked up a glass of wine and splashed it on the woman. The woman fought back without hesitation. She also splashed wine on the other party and said they were rude. These words completely annoyed the adopted daughter's friend, and just as she was about to hit the woman, a man stopped her. When she saw that it was the man she met on the balcony that day, the woman happily greeted him. The adopted daughter was extremely shocked because this man was the most powerful, richest man in the local area. She did not expect that the woman would know him. The woman did not want to waste time on the adopted daughter. After exchanging names with the man, she left happily with him. The woman really liked the man's appearance, and to thank him for helping her, she suddenly took out a flower from behind her back. The man was pleasantly surprised. This was the first time a woman had given him a flower. The CEO took his child to work for the first time, but he asked his son to be his secretary. To punish his son for refusing to go to kindergarten, he told the boy to go downstairs and make 5 copies of this document. But as soon as the little boy entered the lobby, he got lost. He had no idea where the printer was. Worse still, he lost the only copy of the document. When the CEO learned about it, he fired his son on the spot. The little boy burst into tears instantly. The CEO walked up to his son and asked, "Are adults' tasks really hard?" Seeing his son nod his head, the CEO told him that a kid's task was to go to kindergarten and study. The little boy finally realized his mistake, so he took the initiative to ask his father to send him to school, but the CEO refused him. It was only because that day was the boy's birthday. He decided to send the boy to kindergarten the next day. Then the CEO pinned his late wife's brooch to his son's collar. He only allowed his son to wear it on his birthday. This brooch carried the father and son's longing for the wife. After work, the CEO took his son out to buy a birthday gift, but his son lost the brooch. At that moment, he saw a brooch identical to his own on a woman's chest. He thought the woman had picked it up, so he asked her to return it to him. But the woman said the brooch was her personal belonging. Seeing that the woman was unwilling to return it, the CEO suggested that they go to check the supermarket surveillance footage together. The woman refused him directly, because she needed to celebrate her daughter's birthday with her. Just as the two were arguing, the little boy found the brooch in his pocket. The CEO felt confused immediately. This was because the brooch was handmade by his wife. He did not understand why that woman had the same style of brooch. When he was about to chase after her to ask, he found that the woman had already disappeared. The CEO thought he would never cross paths with her again, but he saw the woman again the next day. At that time, the woman was using the window glass of his car to put on makeup. Seeing the brooch on the woman's chest, he rolled down the car window immediately. The woman felt extremely embarrassed when she saw him. She tried to leave, but she accidentally fell down. The CEO got out of the car at once to check on her condition. To find out where the brooch came from, he apologized to the woman voluntarily. Then he asked her for her contact information. The woman felt confused. The next second, the CEO pointed to the scratched part of the car. The woman immediately understood that she had scratched the CEO's car when she fell, so she had to stick her contact information on the CEO's car. The boy deliberately made noises at home to drive his stepmother away. However, instead of blaming him, his stepmother supported him in playing music at home. Seeing the woman smile, the boy was very confused, because his stepmother had never smiled at him before. He did not know that a completely new soul had taken over his stepmother's body. Just the day before, the woman had found herself transmigrated into the body of the vicious stepmother in a novel. Having read this novel, the woman knew that if she did not make a change, she would be driven out of the house by her husband. To continue living this wealthy life, the woman decided to improve her relationship with her husband's family. When she saw the boy bringing a bunch of friends home to hang out, she greeted them warmly and told the servants to buy a lot of snacks for them. However, the boy did not believe that the woman was being kind, so he refused the food brought by the servants. Then he and his friends started playing rock music. Watching them having a great time, the woman could not help but recall how lively she had been when she was young. Just then, she suddenly saw a female classmate secretly putting something into the boy's cup. The woman immediately remembered that there was a female supporting character in the novel who often caused trouble for the boy. Seeing that the boy was about to drink the water in the cup, the woman quickly ran over to stop him. She lied and said that she had accidentally eaten chili peppers and was craving water badly. The boy was confused by the woman's behavior, but he still gave her the cup. Seeing the guilty look on the female classmate's face, the woman became even more certain that there was something wrong with the water in the cup. So when she smelled the alcohol in the cup, she immediately said that her husband did not allow her to drink alcohol, and then took the cup away. After all the boy's friends left, the woman told him what had just happened and reminded him to be careful when making friends. The boy had never expected that his stepmother could be kind-hearted. He wanted to thank her, but he felt awkward about it. In the end, he left without saying anything. The woman did not blame the boy. Instead, she thought he was very cute. The next day, the woman suddenly received a call from the housekeeper. The housekeeper said that the boy had gotten into trouble at school and needed a parent to come and deal with it. So the woman went to the school, which shocked the boy greatly. He had never expected that she would be willing to take care of his business. When they entered the dean's office, the dean said that the boy had offended the most powerful teacher in the school, which made the teacher refuse to teach the students any longer. The teacher now demanded that the boy apologize to him in public. After hearing what the dean said, the woman took out a surveillance video. The video showed that the teacher had refused to let the students leave the classroom even after the class bell had rung. The boy had felt annoyed, but the teacher thought that he was giving him an attitude and criticized him in public. So the boy stopped putting up with it, picked up his school bag, and walked out of the classroom. The woman said that while the boy had been wrong in his attitude, the teacher's behavior had also been very problematic. She refused to accept the teacher's demand for the boy to apologize in public. The wealthy man threw the engagement ring into the trash can. A girl spotted the ring and picked it up out of curiosity. Seeing that the man was about to leave, the girl ran over at once and stood in front of his car. The man hurried out of the car and asked if the girl was hurt. The girl pulled out the ring and said, "You dropped your ring." Looking at the girl's innocent look, the man thought she was very cute. He asked the girl what her name was, but the girl said everyone called her a fool. What surprised the man even more was that the girl thought the trash can was her home. At that moment, the assistant told the man that his stepmother was choosing a bride for him. The man suddenly realized that his stepmother was trying to keep an eye on him. He looked at the girl and asked if she would marry him, but the girl had no idea what marriage meant. He told the girl, "After you marry me, I can buy you a lot of delicious food." When she heard there would be delicious food, the girl agreed. So the man asked his assistant to take her to the hospital for a checkup. The test results came out soon. It turned out that because the girl had suffered a head injury, her mental age was only 6 years old. If she wanted to return to normal, she had to wait for her memories to come back. The man didn't mind that the girl was mentally challenged. He really liked her innocent personality. From then on, besides working, the man spent every day playing with the girl, until the day they ran into the man's stepmother. The stepmother refused to believe that the girl had intellectual problems. She took out a large sum of money to test her. If the girl knelt down and apologized, she would give her money to buy candies. As soon as the girl heard that, she knelt down immediately. The stepmother never thought that the man would give up a marriage partner beneficial to the family for a fool. She left angrily. Soon after, the girl was alone at home when the man's stepmother suddenly came to her and asked her to spy on the man. The girl refused her and then got into a fight with her, but the stepmother accidentally pushed the girl down. She was afraid that the man would take revenge on her after he found out, so she asked the nanny to take the girl to the banquet hall and tried to frame someone else. But the girl actually recovered all her memories because of this incident. It turned out that the girl was the daughter of a wealthy businessman. Her fiancé and stepsister had teamed up to betray her, which led to her memory loss. Coincidentally, the girl's fiancé was right in front of her at that moment. When the fiancé heard that the girl was a fool, he thought he had mistaken her for someone else. The girl didn't expose her identity. She pretended to be foolish and slapped her fiancé. Then she lied and said she could see ghosts, claiming that this man had hit someone with his car. At that time, some guests said that the wealthy businessman's daughter had been missing recently, and it must have something to do with her fiancé. The fiancé quickly warned the girl to stop talking nonsense, but she slapped him again. The fiancé was very angry and told his bodyguards to drive the woman out immediately. But the woman's husband arrived at the banquet hall in time. The woman hurried to complain to her husband, saying that these people had bullied her. Seeing the wound on the woman's head, the man immediately told his bodyguards to surround them. The wealthy man clearly knew that his wife was not the biological mother of their child, yet he still had truly fallen in love with her. To make his wife understand his genuine feelings, he decided to propose to her once again. However, he had no idea that his wife had already made plans to leave because the child's biological mother had come back. 5 years earlier, the woman's elder sister had accidentally had a sexual relationship with the wealthy man. After she gave birth to the child, she thought that the wealthy man's family would look down on her, so she left the child with the woman and flew alone to another country to let the child have a complete family. The woman pretended to be her elder sister and went to the wealthy man's home. After the wealthy man's mother confirmed that the child was indeed of their family bloodline, she planned to give the woman some money and let her leave. But the wealthy man said that he was willing to marry the woman. After that day, the woman became the wealthy man's wife. She had thought that life would go on peacefully like this forever. But 5 years later, her elder sister suddenly returned from abroad. She was jealous that the woman had married the wealthy man, so she threatened the woman with the secret of the child's parentage and forced her to divorce the wealthy man. Although the woman was very angry, she also thought that everything should return to the right track. That night, she put the divorce agreement among her work documents and asked her husband to sign it. The man noticed that something was wrong with her, but he said nothing. Instead, he secretly sent his assistant to investigate who she had met recently. The woman did not know that the man had already discovered her secret, and she decided to leave after celebrating their son's birthday. However, her elder sister appeared beside their son in the identity of a tutor. Seeing the happy scene where her husband and elder sister were playing with their son, the woman felt extremely depressed. Their son even held up a Superman medal excitedly and said to the woman that he hoped to stay with the tutor forever. After hearing this, the elder sister showed a triumphant look. She reminded the woman again that she was the child's biological mother. The woman began to feel that her companionship with the child might really be no match for blood ties. Time flew by quickly, and it soon came to their son's birthday. Their son cried and demanded to drink milk, so the woman asked the maid to bring a glass of milk. Unexpectedly, after drinking it, their son suddenly collapsed to the ground. After an examination, the doctor found that the child had suffered a severe allergic reaction because he drank milk containing peanuts. The wealthy man's mother immediately slapped the woman because the woman was in charge of this birthday party. The woman did not have time to explain and quickly sent their son to the hospital. Fortunately, their son pulled through after emergency treatment. To prevent sequelae, the hospital suggested conducting a genetic matching test on the child's immediate family members. The mother-in-law hurriedly pushed the woman to take the test, but since the woman was not the child's biological mother, she turned around and ran away in fear. Looking at the back of his wife leaving, the man had to reveal that secret. She is not the child's biological mother, but I am not the child's father either. The elder sister was instantly shocked.